Hello there, I hope you're doing well today. My name is Ian Green and I'm the musician for Music Dreams and also for Ian J. Green. And today you can check out my profiles wherever you wish to stream your music. And I also enjoy teaching and working as a music festival adjudicator and also as an examiner with the Royal Conservatory of Music. And today what I'm going to be doing is discussing part 2 of Unit 6 of the Level 10 Harmony course that is taught through the Royal Conservatory. And specifically we're going to be discussing pivot chords and how they can be used when modulating to closely related keys. Let's go over to my shared screen and we can discuss what we looked at last time, which is how to consider closely related scales. So what you want to do is consider the closely related scale, or the original scale, excuse me, and go up one flat or sharp more and one flat or sharp fewer. You want to go down as well to give you the two closely related scales that fit the original. So in the scale of C major, as your original, we have 0 sharps and flats. So if you go up 1 sharp, in this case it would be G major, 1 sharp, or you go down to 1 flat, it would be F major. So then the closely related major scales to C would be F and G major. Also, another way to think of it is that the 4th note of the original scale is one of the closely related keys, so in this case F. And then the 5th note, or the dominant note, in this case G, is also closely related when you think of the scale. Now in this case, what we're doing is also thinking about not only the closely related major scale, but it's also its related minor. So in the scale of F major, the related minor scale would be D minor. So both F major and D minor, which share the key signature of B flat, they are both closely related to the scale of C in the sense that some of the chords are the same between the original scale and the new scale. And the same goes for G major / E minor. Now, the next question is, how do we modulate? What do we actually have to do? Now, as we know from modulating to the dominant key, or to in any key with a pivot chord, you want to think about what the chord is that is the same, that's also a strong chord, between the original scale you're in and the new scale that you're going to be going to. And then you switch the labeling from the original scale to the new scale, while also making sure to not modulate too late. You want to make sure that whenever you use your pivot chord, the pivot chord happens right before we switch to a new key. So that is very important. So first of all, you want to determine the pivot chord. That's the first step. You want to think about what chord in an example is the strongest option that fits both the original scale you're in and also the scale you're going to. And then you want to label with functional chord symbols what those two chord definitions are. Let's say we're in the scale of C major and we want to modulate, but we want to use G as the modulation chord. You want to think about, okay, I'm in the scale of C major, so G is the dominant of the scale of C, but it's also the tonic of the scale of G. So that's something helpful. So as well, something to think about is afterwards, you want to make sure that you've created a pivot chord that is timed properly so that you're not too late where the key is already changed and it's tricky to figure out the chord names because of the accidentals and things have switched. Or also you don't want to do it too early. So then you also have to then redefine how to name all these chords when the key hasn't really changed yet. So you want to look at the example and see where the best place is, where the pivot chord could happen right before the key change, and then you are able to then cleanly move from one to the next, one key to the next. As well, something that's really helpful is that when you're drawing your pivot chord symbol, you want to draw it kind of like this, so that your first key is this, and then you change to the key of X, and then you have your next set of chord progressions this way, so that it shows a clear stopping point in the music of where the original key was, and then also a clear starting point of where the new key is starting. So that's hopefully a helpful tip. We call that a pivot chord symbol. So I do hope that you help find this tutorial helpful. There are different examples that are in the book, the workbook, that really help to outline this material. But the important thing is just to think about a few of those little tips. Know what key you're in, know what key you are going to be going to, and then think about what chord is the strongest option that occurs right before the key change that you can use as your pivot chord, so that you can then switch seamlessly from the original scale to the new scale. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that this tutorial was helpful, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.